I was having a lot of young women reaching out to me. And honestly, that was kind of the catalyst for me just becoming very transparent on my social media because I'd have these women reaching out to me asking like, how do I look like you? And I'm in my head, I was like, have an eating disorder. Like it's not healthy. Like this isn't good. I don't want to be bringing this, uh, presenting this to these young people, like thinking that this is how someone just naturally is. The reality is, like I was struggling really badly, and I wasn't presenting an honest face to them. So that was kind of what really pushed me to want to talk to them about this openly.
Well, Bridget, I've followed you for quite some time and you have a big influence on social media, and I really resonate with how truth-telling you are. How do you decide what to share and when to share on social media, and what has informed your decisions?
Hmm. Gosh, well, it's kind of changed a lot over the years. So, when I was in more of a struggling place with my food and with my career and with everything in life, I shared quite differently to how I share now. So I used to be very upfront, and whenever I was feeling a little unsteady or anxious, I would just put it on the internet. I would like post a photo and be like, this is how I'm feeling. And I found that people were really, yeah, they really responded to it. They found the candid angle of it refreshing and nice because I think as a model, which is what I was doing full time then, like people saw my exterior and thought that like everything was fine and thought that like I was absolutely fine and I was living the life and how could my life be difficult and how could I struggle? Whereas in reality, like I was dealing with a lot of very difficult things that took a lot of time. And by sharing them and by humanizing it and like getting a feedback from people that was actually like, oh, me too. Like I didn't think you'd feel that way was actually a huge part of my healing. Like it was a huge part of me coming to terms with who I was, what had happened to me, and how I wanted to be in the world. So for a while there, and of course, like that was what was coinciding with my most high profile time. And now these days, like I don't really have that going on anymore. So it's a relief. I kind of just share my horses and my life.
Do you think followers have noticed the change in your evolution, and do you think it's resonating that they're following in your footsteps, so to speak, or getting some education on how to move through intense feelings into more of a peaceful place?
I hope so. I definitely hope so. At the time, definitely it felt like it. I was having a lot of young women reaching out to me. And honestly, that was kind of the catalyst for me just becoming very transparent on my social media because I'd have these women reaching out to me asking like, how do I look like you? And I'm in my head, I was like, have an eating disorder. Like it's not healthy. Like this isn't good. I don't want to be bringing this, uh, presenting this to these young people, like thinking that this is how someone just naturally is. The reality is, like I was struggling really badly and I wasn't presenting an honest face to them. So that was kind of what really pushed me to want to talk to them
Mm.
about this openly. Nowadays, it feels a little disingenuine for me to continue that because like I've been in recovery now for a long time. I'm healthy. I'm in a good place. Like I kind of chilling. So I've pivoted a little bit to writing more about things that interest me. Which is attention, like how we attract attention in this day and age, how the idea of what attention is has kind of shifted through these social media platforms that we work on. Like the narrative around paying attention has shifted completely from something on a TV screen to something that's in your phone that's specified
Mm.
for each app and it's fleeting. So whoever can get the attention wins, really. So I've
Mm.
been writing more about that. Um, and honestly, though, like my social media now is just a representation of me, and what has got my attention, I guess, at this point in time.
What has your attention right now?
Horses. Um, no, I find like I love sharing things that are beautiful. So I get to travel a lot. So I share a lot of videos of places that I get to go, beautiful oceans, mountains, forests. Obviously, I ride horses, so I see a lot of horses. Um, but I'm more into sharing things that catch my eye, like things that are beautiful and things that, yeah. And also,
Mm.
there's some selfies in there because I still do a bit of modeling sometimes.
Love that. I really enjoy following your stories, and I have noticed the change. When you think about attention, and how could you help someone maybe listening right now and they're building their social media, or they want to be more mindful about what they're putting out there, what advice would you give them?
Oh, yes. I think the number one piece of advice is be genuine to yourself. Always be genuine because we are now all thoroughly immersed in social media and we can sniff a mile away when somebody isn't authentic. And that just
Mm.
doesn't resonate with people. People are on social media because you've removed the middleman to putting out content. Like you can just do it yourself now. And people want to see real people. Like I think that was what was really resonating when I was struggling. Like I was being very authentic and raw. So I think like my number one piece of advice is don't try to be something that you're not. Be yourself. Like that's awesome. Like people need that. Um,
But my question is, what if you don't know yourself, which I didn't know
hmm,
myself for so long? How do we find ourselves? Sorry, we're getting a little deep, but
ooh,
that's
okay. Well, I guess what I've done, and maybe this will be helpful or not, I've been very mindful about my algorithms. So obviously algorithms feed you information and content all day long. And so like when I first started using social media, I was very strict with my TikTok algorithm about what I wanted to see and what I didn't want to see. And I still do that like now because I want to stay like stable and happy and balanced. My Instagram algorithm is completely different to my TikTok algorithm. I show completely different things. Um, and so I would say use your algorithms kind of like that. Like look at what you like, what you don't like, what resonates, what doesn't, and then think about what it would look like to create content around that, And it's also like you can change. You don't have to get locked into one thing. I
I love
think, yeah, I think the joy of social media is that it's ever changing. So like you don't have to, be tied down to one idea. Obviously, algorithms like it when they continue, but like you're allowed to change. You're not like dictated by that.
That's one of the signs of great mental health strength is flexibility, being able to look at something from different perspectives, not being stuck in one lane. But that's part of evolution, like how I grew up at least, oh, it was an all or nothing. And I think that that can be very unhelpful because then you're not open to hearing other people's perspectives or possibilities or being open to learning. So I think curiosity, flexibility, and then, of course, just being tolerant and patient with yourself as you get to learn and grow and having grace. So that means the whole of it is that I wish we could all have grace on social media for everyone else's perspective as long as it's safe and healthy. And that can vary for different people. But to your point, Bridget, I think the piece where if my Instagram feed is feeding me stories or something because it thinks I want something, I'm immediately that I don't want and I find is unsafe, something too sexy or something too, I immediately dismiss that. And so I think that could be really scary for a young user. How would you advise young users?
Yeah, I mean, I agree completely. I think, unfortunately, people get the most attention at either end of the spectrum, and the algorithm has figured that out. So, we have to be very mindful that we stay where what feels good.
The algorithm has figured it out. It likes the all or nothing, and I think that's great advice. So that piece right there, you just